I'm Allison from Learning at the Primary Pond. I'm a literacy specialist, and in this video, I'm going to share why using readers theater in your classroom can be so beneficial. I'll also talk about some of the how. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to do that now, and then also hit the little bell so that you're notified every time I post a brand new video about teaching literacy in K2. First of all, let's talk about what readers theater is. So what a readers theater play is a little play, and it's written at like an easier level than you would have like an actual play, right? So they're written for students to read. So each kiddo is going to get a part, and what they do is they practice that part. They read it multiple times, which we'll talk about why that's so helpful in a minute. And they're not supposed to memorize their lines, but they're supposed to be familiar with their lines enough so that when they have their script in front of them, they can take turns and they can act out the little play. And so this is an example of a readers theater, decodable readers theater resource that I have. Link for that is in the caption. Right now I have it for first and second grade. And so as you can see, there's different characters, and then it's really clearly delineated like which character reads which line, and they only focus on practicing their lines for their character multiple times, like I said. And then they're going to perform the little play. So again, they use their lines. They're not memorizing. They're reading from here, but the goal is for them to be fluent enough so that it sounds like, you know, a nice little play when they all read it together. Now, as far as the performance goes, you might think like, oh, I have some kiddos that would not want to perform. And you know your kids best, right? There may be personality reasons, even cultural reasons why they don't want to like get up in front of the other kids and perform their little plays. So that is totally okay. If that's the case, the kids can just perform their little play for you, or they can perform for another small group. And yes, you can have them perform their plays in front of the class, but again, it's totally up to you. You know your students best. So that's what readers theater is, and I'm curious if you've ever used this or any other kind of like little drama or play in your classroom. If you have, let me know in the comments, and then also I would love to know how your students liked it. Now let's talk about the benefits. Why would we want to do this? Well, number one, I talked about how you have your kids read and reread their lines. Guess what? This is so good for building fluency. When kids are first learning to read, sometimes their reading is choppy, it's slow. This is totally normal. But what the research shows is that rereading a text, just like, you know, it's not a book, that's great, but this is also a type of text. Rereading a text multiple times helps kids build fluency with that particular text, meaning their accuracy is better, they're reading more smoothly, they're reading at a good pace, not too slowly, they're reading with expression. So their fluency improves when they're reading that text, but those improvements also help them become more fluent with other texts. So rereading a text multiple times is very good for building fluency. And the thing is rereading a favorite book is great. Sometimes though, kids get tired of rereading, but the beautiful thing about readers theater is it's a legitimate, authentic reason for them to read the same text over and over and over again, right? Because they're practicing, they're rehearsing. You can have them, actually rehearse and do all the characters, but you can also have them maybe just read their lines on their own or read their lines with a partner. You could have two kids play one role and they read together. So there's so many opportunities for getting kids to reread the same text over and over with readers theater. So it's just excellent for building fluency. Now, when you're choosing scripts, and again, I have the link for these readers theater plays in the caption, but you want to be really selective because you want them to be able to be decoded by students. And so these sets that I have are I have one for first grade and one for second grade. And so they are decodable, meaning that they are limited to a certain phonics pattern. So what you do is when you open the file, it shows you like, hey, can your kids decode like CVC words? Can they also decode, CVC words, digraphs, blends? Can they also, do vowel teams? So you pick the skills that your kids are working on or they've already mastered, and then based upon that, it shows you which scripts you can use. So throughout the year, you can use different scripts, but my point here is that you want to be selective in what you choose because if they're words that kids, can't decode, then number one, it's going to be hard to build fluency. But number two, they're just going to kind of end up like memorizing the words, which again, that's not the point. You want them to decode these words. You want them to, be able to read them smoothly and quickly. But you want them to be words that they can actually decode in the first place. So that's why having decodable Reader's Theater scripts is really beneficial. So Reader's Theater can help with decoding and reinforce the phonics skills that you're teaching when you have the right kind of scripts. Another benefit of Reader's Theater is that it helps build teamwork, right? So there's different characters in these little plays. They have to work together to pull this off. They might give each other feedback on their fluency. They might give each other tips on like, how do you, maybe, like it doesn't have to be elaborate, but like, how do you act out what you're doing? So they need to be working together to pull off this little play. So that's great for building teamwork. The next benefit of Reader's Theater is just that it's fun. And yes, fun is a good reason. School should be engaging. Does it have to be a barrel of laughs all the time? No. But this is an activity where it's, an authentic reason for developing decoding and fluency skills, but it can also just be fun and build that classroom community. Kids are experiencing something enjoyable together. So in my Reader's Theater packs, there's all kinds of goodies to help make it even more fun. What you do with this is you cut it out and you use a construction paper band, and then they have little like hats and things, right, for their characters so everybody knows who they are. I also have an option where it's like a circle, like a little character round, so they wear, just on a lanyard like a necklace. This is what character they are. So all of these little extras just make this whole thing a whole lot more fun. So those are some benefits, but I also want to talk about some other things that you can do to enhance your Reader's Theater to make it even more beneficial for your kids. One thing you can do is incorporate fluency evaluation. Now, the research shows that giving kids feedback on their fluency, whether that's from you or it's from a peer, is helpful in helping them improve their fluency. And that makes sense, right? Like if they don't know what they could improve upon, how would they improve upon it? So in my Reader's Theater pack, I forgot to print this one out, but there is a little kid-friendly rubric where the kids can evaluate each other on like reading with expression and things like that. So you can have maybe not all 4 kids in this play doing it to each other, but you can pair them up 2 and 2, have them practice reading their lines to each other, and then they give feedback, and then they try to read it again, improving using that feedback. So you can get some evaluation going on in there too. Again, great for building fluency. Another component of this is that you can incorporate comprehension. Now, with the packs, if you want to, you can introduce these little plays in a small group setting. There's a whole small group lesson to help introduce the play. And you can have them do some sort of comprehension activity after they've read through the play once or twice to make sure that they're really understanding what's going on. And so this resource will also has graphic organizers in it. So the kids that are putting on the play can do some comprehension work, but the kids who are watching the play, after they watch, they could also fill out one of the graphic organizers. So there's just so much that can be done with Reader's Theater. It's engaging, it's good for building fluency, you can use it for comprehension. It's just an all-around great activity. All right, as I mentioned, I have first grade and second grade decodable Reader's Theater packs. The link for that is in the caption for this video, so you can check that out and see if that's something that would be helpful to you in your classroom. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.